Welcome, guys, to the latest episode of the Terrible Town Post Game. Y'all know me, SimFBallCritic, and look who I got with me. My brother Tony Osborne, as you guys see in the chat. And we are here together. Give me just a moment, guys. I'm going to let some of you guys get in here. I'm going to share the link with our father-in-law, Leonard.
Yes.
And then we got family over at his house, my wife, Tony's wife, his kids, everybody watching. We on display tonight, so hold on. Well, sound off in the comments, man. Let us know what y'all are feeling, because we're feeling it right now. But give me a second. We're going to get started.
See my man Mariano Poppy.
Yeah.
How you doing, brother? Happy holidays to you all.
We about to get it rolling now. I'm going to give you guys a heads up. It might seem a little awkward because we both trying to sit in the green screen, so let us know if we're not focused in good enough. Y'all might see us go out of the camera like that. You know, both of us trying to sit in the green screen, so give us a moment. But we're going to get it cracking, man. What we're going to do tonight is kind of just talk about how we feel about the game. Probably won't take any calls tonight because obviously both of us can't have a headset on, so we won't be able to hear. But, you know, we're just going to chop it up and we're going to look into the chat and see what you guys got to say. Give me 1 second. All right. We are ready to roll. So, this is going to be more conversational tonight. So, Tony, man, what's the first thing that bothers you about this loss? What's the first thing that comes to mind after watching that game?
Well, the first thing come to mind is the bad penalties. I mean, you had 2 against Joe Hayden. I mean, the referee was, he was so eager to throw the flag just over and over again. Those were some bad calls. I was a little hot. You were hot. Our father-in-law was hot. Those were some bad calls. And it was nothing else that we can do from that. We couldn't recuperate.
Yeah, man, I felt like, we want to hear what you guys have to say because we can look in the chats at the same time. I see Kenyon in here. Sorry, man, we forgot to do the roll call, but like I said, with both of us here, you know, we're kind of just going off the top of the head. The first penalty on Joe Hayden, that pass interference, was horrendous. That was not a pass interference. You fast forward to that 4th and 2. Was that a PI on Joe Hayden? I don't think so. I think that's a bang-bang play.
Yes.
The one against Morgan Burnett, that was probably an interference because he kind of went over his back. But still, what I want to talk about, man, we could talk and say it was the penalties, which it was. We all agree. But 3rd and 20, and you give up the first down in the middle of the field.
Yes.
Kenyon, I'm going to ask Kenyon because Kenyon, I'm sure, was watching the game. What happened on that play? Because we were so upset about it, so pissed off about it, I didn't look at the alignment. Whose man was that? Where was the pressure on the 3rd and 20? Why is it that our defense can't close the game? Do you guys realize, and me and Tony talked about this walking over here, how many times we've had a lead and the offense have given us a lead and we can't close the show? But at the same time, we know that's been our season.
Yes.
Our defense we're just not a good team defensively, guys. We make a few plays, but we don't make the necessary plays when we need to. We'll make one here and there. Excuse me. TJ Watt gets a sack. We had 2 drives where it seemed like our defense shut them down.
Yes.
Gave us the ball back. We scored. But when it counts the most, we don't make a play, and now we sitting on the outside of the playoff.
Yes.
What else ticked you off about that game?
Well, just like what you said, just not able to sustain pressure to Drew Brees. You can't give Drew Brees that type of time to just pick us apart. It looks like Kenyon said it was a zone in that play that was given up. I mean, that's the personnel that we have. I mean, we try to share that with our father-in-law. Yeah. The type of players that we have is not able to sustain. I mean, if you look at the Dick LeBeau defense, it's a beautiful defense when you get pressure.
Right.
But we don't have those kind of players. You look at our players. I mean, Joe Hayden. I mean, respectfully, he's $11 million. He's not a number 1 anymore. And then we have SimFBall. as the other corner. So
number 2 corner.
We don't have the type of pressure. You look at Bud Dupree. Bud Dupree is not able to bring pressure. I mean, they try to bring pressure as well as they could, but they couldn't. So I mean, just the inability to bring the type of pressure that we need to bring them out third and out. I mean, when you look at it, I love that block punt we had, and then I know you're going to get to it eventually. When we get the stop, with the inability to bring ourselves down the field,
3 and out.
It was a lot of 3 and outs, and I mean, that was the game right there. I mean, when you look at it too, look at the penalty against Hayden. That was a critical penalty too.
Big time.
Yeah, because I mean, Drew Brees 4th and 20, and then they call that call. I mean, but like you said, though, I mean, outside of the calls, we only can do what we can do on the field.
Yeah.
And Ben played tonight.
That's what I'm about to look at. I want to check Ben's stats.
Oh my God.
Ben played ball, man.
Ben balled tonight. Juju balled. AB balled. I mean, we balled. It was just our offense did the job. Our defense, I mean, just couldn't sustain it. I mean, when it was time to stop them, we had them in long situations. You look at it, 3rd and 10. Most teams you get them like 3rd and 20, 3rd and 15. They were scoring. I mean, it was the zone. Just like Kenyon said, the zone we
like Kenyon just said.
Yeah.
14 points off of 2 pass interference.
Yes.
Now here's the big one. We gotta attack it real quick because I know they're gonna ask us. I see it in the chat. Did you like that fake punt call? Was it the right? I guess I'll say, was it the right time to do it? And did you agree with doing it at that moment?
I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't really have a problem with it because it was the flow of the game. I guess that he felt as though that he was trying to do something different. Mm-hmm. At the flow of that game. I mean, a lot of people are not going to like it, but when it works, we love it.
We ain't saying nothing.
We're not saying anything. And I mean, if you look at that drive, we sustained the drive. It was that pass interference again that was on Joe Hayden on that particular drive because we were stopping them. We were bringing pressure. We were, doing everything. I believe it was some holding calls that was bringing them back. It was just so I don't have any complaints on as far as in that particular situation.
I see that's what people are saying in the chat, and just to piggyback off of Tony. You got to play to win the game, man. I mean, you on the road, you playing a Drew Brees team. Yes. You don't want to give them the ball back. Now, I know people are going to say, well, if you give them the ball right there, they got a short field.
Right.
But at that time in the game, there's enough time left in the game. If they score, your offense is moving the ball. So I guess we felt like take a chance. It almost worked.
Yes, it did.
It almost worked, but, and I'm not defending Tomlin, but I feel like at that time, why not? If we get it, we might have continued to drive, might have scored, who knows? But, and I want to sit here, Tony, and I want to criticize the lack of the run game. But I kept saying I didn't want Ben to throw the ball 50 times, but God,
wow,
he was 33 of 50, 380, and 3 touchdowns.
Wow.
It was working.
Yes.
Now we have to say this. Why do we keep doing 5 wide in the end zone?
Oh.
Why we keep doing it down in there?
Oh.
3-4 yards to go.
Yes.
It was some questionable calls in there.
I'm not sure I understand.
Yes.
You heard that? She ain't sure she understand either.
Yeah.
But I mean, we came away with points when we needed them, but I felt like we left points on the field on some of those 1st and goals. Run the football. Like, don't be so predictable and you run it on 2nd down. I feel like try to punch it in and then you got 2 more downs you can pass. What else, man? We got to go to the notes. Trying to see what else really bothered us, man, because now we just going off of emotion.
Yeah.
James Washington missed the block on that quick out to Antonio Brown early in the game. We had to settle for a field goal.
Yes.
What else here? Oh. Ridley fumble.
Oh, yes.
Now, can we blame Juju for his fumble?
No.
Are we being biased if we don't blame him for his fumble?
Right.
I don't know. I don't think I can blame him for it because of the way he was hit.
Yeah.
I understand it, but we gotta hold on to the football, man. And both Juju and Stephen Ridley coughed the ball up and we still pretty much did they score after that Ridley fumble?
I don't think that they scored after the Ridley fumble. I can't
remember
remember if they scored or not. But the bottom line is that should we, knowing that the box was stacked like that, should we have ran the ball?
That's what it was
at that time. Yes,
that's what it was, and that's why I got my partner here, man. Guys, did y'all see? And I know Kenyon saw it. Kenyon, did you see the alignment? Why did we come out there and try to muscle the number one run defense for 2 yards? It's 3rd and 2. We moving the ball with the pass. Why would we line up in a jumbo like that with Stephen Ridley and try to run it straight up the middle? No trickery, no pitch out, no quick screen to get him in space. We just gonna line up like that and run against the number one running defense?
Right.
See, this is what I'm saying. And my cousin, and shout outs to Floyd because he's probably watching. He texted me early in the game, man, Randy Fichtner got a mean playbook. He do.
Yeah.
He pulled out some stuff tonight, but
yes, he does.
It just seems like when it's situational football time, we crack.
Yes.
We crack.
Yes.
Tomlin called another timeout. Mm-hmm. And when I'm trying to remember when it was, but he called the timeout, and I think the clock had already stopped. I don't know what that was about, but I don't know, man. What else bothers us?
Let me ask you a question. This is the question that I was thinking in my mind. I mean, you think about it. Look at our right tackle. That was a key too.
Oh
Fowler.
yeah, Matt Fowler.
It seemed like that defense with just 3 or maybe 4 pass rushers was pushing back our line. And
Pouncey got
I'm not a big Pouncey fan, and I'll be honest with you. I mean, he's very athletic. Remember, he went down the field to nullify a big play.
He did.
He nullified a big play. They called him being down the field, and I think it was 2 times they called him for being down the field. I mean, he's a very athletic.
What is your center doing down?
Yeah. And they were getting pushed. They were getting pushed around quite a bit sometimes, and that was one of the things that I knew that I didn't like. I mean, we're gonna have to get a right tackle.
Yep.
We're gonna have to get a right tackle because Marcus Gilbert always injured, and what could we do?
Man, what else did we notice? What happened to Vance McDonald? We get one big play to Vance McDonald, and Tony Romo was showing us in the telecast. Like, I remember, again, our father-in-law screaming, why they keep throwing it to Washington, like in the last series? But you saw they was doubling Juju and AB. But where was Vance McDonald? I mean, we hit him early, so I wonder why we didn't go back to. He had to have a favorable matchup. Yeah. I mean, it's easy for us to say sitting on the couch, but I can't put it on the offense this time.
Yeah.
They gave us 28 points. Yes. They dueled with Drew Brees. The defense has to make stops. Yeah. And I think what we saw tonight is exactly what our team is. This has happened to us so many times this season. And last week, we happened to stop them. But Brady and them did drive all the way down to the 20.
Yes, he did.
The Raiders, we had to stop them. We couldn't. Get them in a 4th and goal, can't stop them. Mm-hmm. This has been our team the whole season. Middle of the field, wide open. And I think it's just showing us the type of team that we have.
Right.
We don't have the personnel. And again, we're not going to let Keith Butler off the hook.
Right. Right.
That sometimes I felt like tonight, why were we in zone coverage?
Right.
You can't man up all the time, but I'm a firm believer in this. Let's just go mano a mano.
Right.
Drew Brees is going to eat your zone alive. And what did Kenyon just say? That 3rd and 20, what was we in?
Yeah, we were in the zone.
I figured maybe if we in man, as much time as our defensive line gave them, maybe we can have guys at least stick with people less than 20 yards.
Right.
We try to zone it. Dude comes open, wide open, and we don't even blitz.
Right.
We send 4.
Right.
So I just feel like, man, that we don't have the players, but then we don't always it's like we're afraid to go mano a mano.
Right.
You know, we won't put these guys up in their face. We give the inside release a lot. I don't know, man.
Yeah.
Now, do you guys and Tony, I'll ask Tony, do y'all even want to get in the playoffs at this point? Let's be honest. Do we even want to get to the playoffs?
Right. I know. When I look at what we're doing right now, I mean, it's better if we just go into the off season with the record that we have. I told you, so we can get a better draft pick. I mean, because all it's going to do is we're going to go through this over and over again. It's almost like Groundhog Day.
Yeah.
Going through the same thing over and over again. And we get there, and our emotions get high because we're in the playoffs. And then all of a sudden, we just get let down. And when you get in the playoffs, you're going to play teams that are just a little bit better. I mean, you saw what happened with Kansas City. You saw what happened to us in different games. I can't think of it. Where it's just those guys, the Chargers is dangerous. We should have won a lot of those games, but like you said, our defense let us down. I mean, to go into the playoffs and to get blown out is going to be embarrassing.
Yeah.
To go there and then lose. I mean, so it doesn't make sense to even get to go into the postseason. All that's going to happen is the same thing that happened tonight.
You're right. I mean, it's tough, man, and I know all of us probably feel this way, and me and Tony definitely feel this way. You know, we over there at our father-in-law's moping because we knew we was going to lose. You know, Tony, I've been saying it all year. Tony had confidence that we could win.
I thought we was going to win this game.
And we had it.
Yeah.
We actually, that's the thing that hurts us. Our team is always in position, it seems like, with the good teams.
Yes.
Even with the Chiefs, they blew us out later, but I mean, we was tit for tat for them. But again, defense couldn't make enough stops. They kept scoring. We stopped scoring.
Right.
Look what we did with the Patriots. Look what happened. We played a great game for the most part offensively against the Saints in their house. Ben balled out.
Yes, he did.
Defense let us down at the end of the game.
Yes.
Because we held Breeze, early in that game. Remember, guys, he was only like 160 yards passing. And aided by pass interference calls.
Yes.
But when we needed them the most, they let us down. No pressure and sitting back in zone. And I swear on that last play, Breeze had about 6 seconds.
Right.
Man comes open, and that's been the Steelers' defense. That's been our Achilles heel these last 3 years.
Yes.
Since that AFC championship.
Yes.
Something has got to be done, man. And I guess my question would be now. Then we'll take a look at the chat. Because like I said, guys, we're not going to take calls tonight. We're not going to stay on too long because, we got family at the house. But where do we go from here? I mean, do we think it's just a simple thing of drafting and hope we get some guys? Or does the Steelers need to open their wallet a little more? We're talking to the upper, the brass of the organization. Or should we also consider changing some personnel on the defense as far as coaching?
Right. I mean, if you're talking about coaching, I believe that some of the, position coaches, maybe like Porter, our middle linebacker coach, I can't think of his name at this time.
What's his name?
Oslowski.
Yeah, Jerry Oslowski.
Yeah. Might be time for them to make a change. But the Steelers have been doing it this way for all of this time. I don't see them changing it. I mean, they might bring a free agent here or there, but like I told you over at the house, this is the way they've done it. Yeah. I mean, if they've been to the playoffs, they go to the playoffs every year.
Yeah.
And if it works, like Tomlin says, if it ain't broke, don't try to fix it. So they're not going to do anything like that. It has to be something that really opens up. I personally, years ago, I'm probably talking about 10, 15 years ago, I used to get mad with the Steelers because I always felt that other teams did that, open up their wallet. But I see that it works. I mean, and the only way we were able to get like Polamalu, Ben Roethlisberger,
we had
Heath Millers, we had to kind of lose to get those type of players to win. I mean, so I don't know. We got some money with Le'Veon
Bell, yeah.
So I mean, I can see us going into free agency and probably drafting someone, but the way that the outside linebackers, the inside linebackers, and the corners. I've personally always felt this way, that if you could get a pass rush, if your front seven, you look at the years that we've won. Let's talk about the 90s. Kenyon probably can. We talk about the old days. You're talking about Jason Gillen and LaVon Kirkland. Those guys, Greg Lloyd, those guys, man, we had a defense. We just didn't have, pass rushes. They were Steelers born. We got them in the draft.
Yeah.
And they went in, and that's what they did. If we can get a pass rush, I'm not saying that, it's good to have corners, it's good to have safeties, but if you can get a pass rush,
consistent pass rush,
it will nullify you having like the top. I tell him, Brian McFadden. What's his name? Not Brian McFadden. What's his name? McFadden.
Oh yeah.
I can't think of his first name.
I think it is Brian.
Okay,
maybe. Yeah.
He was a second round
number
pick.
20, right?
Yeah. He wasn't like the best. They were not the best corners.
Right.
They picked up Ryan Clark, and then we had Polamalu. But you look at it. A pass rush. Woodley, James Harrison. You talking about the Beard. Aaron Smith, Casey Hampton. Those guys. If you can get a consistent rush, it'll nullify everything else. But I don't know. We have money. I don't know what they're going to do with it.
I don't know, man. And let's give a little bit of credit to a few players real quick.
Oh man.
I think we've been a little hard on Sean Davis, man.
Yes.
Yes. Sean Davis played a good game tonight. Now, I'm not going to say he made all the plays. There were some plays where it looked like somebody was late in coverage. But Sean Davis showed me tonight that he can be what Mike Mitchell wasn't.
Right.
Hawked the deep ball, got the pick, knocked the ball out. Remember when the guy caught it? Sean Davis was being very rangy tonight. And I think I like Sean Davis as an athlete. I think if we can develop him at free safety now that this is going to be his position, let's give him another year or two to see how he develops. We need another strong safety.
Yes.
Because I don't know. I don't want to pick on Edmonds, but it's early. But I don't know. Yeah. I'm not seeing enough out of him to make me think that he's going to take a leap. He might. Mm-hmm. But Morgan Burnett is not it.
Yeah.
And speaking off of what Tony was saying, SimFBall didn't really play that bad.
No, he didn't.
So if we had a pass rush, I think tonight our corners for the most part played good enough to win the game.
Yes.
And again, like Kenya was saying, that zone on 3rd and 20 was what killed us. Lack of pass rush, it's not open for that long. Yes. Breeze escaped the pocket. We only sent, did a 4-man rush. We didn't blitz. And there you have it. So I think we've been a little hard on Sean Davis. I like Sean Davis at free safety. I'm willing to give him a chance. We definitely need another corner. Even if that doesn't necessarily need to be your first-round pick, but I think we definitely need somebody else because, we got to think. Behind SimFBall, who we got?
Right.
We got Artie Burns and Cam Sutton, who's really still not getting a lot of time, maybe in nickel, in the dime.
Right.
So we're going to have to go corner at some point, but the way it's looking, man, it's outside or inside got to be our first round.
Right.
Yeah.
The only thing that I think that Sean Davis has to work on is tackling.
Tackling, yeah.
That's the only thing.
He take bad angles
sometimes. Bad angles sometimes. Even when he stuttered step with Kamara coming out the backfield. Remember Kamara had that big play?
You got to commit early, man.
Yes.
And I get what he was trying to do, but we were all discussing it. They was trying to disguise the coverage. But my thing is, and again, we not on the field, but even though you're trying to disguise, that disguise just needs to be pre-snap. As soon as the ball is snapped, you got to go get on Kamara. You can't give him that much room because they was running a slant inside and it created a little bit of a pick. And then he skirts down the sideline. You ain't fast enough to catch him from behind. You got to commit a little early to your man. That was man out the gate. And that was, kind of clever bringing your free safety down to play the man coming out of the backfield. But, because, we got to give credit to the Butler. Butler made some changes in the second half.
Yes,
we had some drives where our defense was holding up. Yes. But it's sad, guys. And who would have ever thought the way we started? Was we 7-2-1 or 6-2-1 at one time?
I thought it was 6-2-1.
I know we was 6-2-1.
Yeah.
I don't know if we was ever 7-2-1.
Yeah.
Can't remember.
Yeah.
But who would have thought that we would be going into week 17, even knowing our defense wasn't that great, hoping that the Baltimore Ravens lose at home to Cleveland. And we still got to beat Cincinnati. Let's not forget. It ain't like we just going, you would think we can go ahead and get that game. But we have to win that game and they have to lose. If that doesn't happen, we're out.
Yes.
And I'm not sure if, no, we can't. We can't get in because Leonard brought this to our attention. The Colts and the Titans play each other. That's the last spot. Because if I'm not mistaken, right now it's the Chiefs, New England, Baltimore, Texans. And then it would be, who's in the fifth spot?
San Diego.
The Chargers. And there's only one spot left. So even if we win and we end up 9-6-1, we can't get in because Tennessee or Indianapolis is going to win and they're going to have 10 wins.
Yeah.
So we're in trouble. Now, can Cleveland beat Baltimore? It's possible.
Yes.
But, because here's the thing. I think Greg Williams is going to be able to scheme against Lamar Jackson with his defensive mind. But, are the Ravens going to let Baker Mayfield cook them in Baltimore?
Right.
I think we're done, guys. And honestly, man, listen, 8-7-1, I'll take it. Let's get into the draft and see what we can get. But my final thoughts before we go to the chat is I think this game summed up our whole season.
Mm-hmm.
Offense will do just enough to get you enough points to put the defense in a position to close.
Right. And
we don't have the defense that will perform in situational football.
Right.
We lack a pass rush consistently, and we just don't have – it looks like we don't have the defense that can plaster receivers. The way the Cowboys did it, they got in their face,
yes,
and they manned them up most of the time. They got physical with them. We don't do it. It's either Keith Butler doesn't trust them to do it, because, again, if y'all – watch, I'm going to show y'all on Tuesday. Well, maybe not. Tuesday is Christmas, so we'll see. I might still do the show later that night. We'll see. If not, we'll move it to Wednesday, and I know y'all will understand that. But if you look at the All-22, I'm sure I'm going to be able to show y'all like I do every week. It's always our guys that get in the face of the receivers, but then we trail. We always give up the inside. We don't get physical, and if we get physical, it's in the slot.
Right.
It's almost like we don't trust Hayden or SimFBall to press. And I feel like that's how you have to beat the Saints. If you look at the teams who gave them problems, look what Carolina did last week. They didn't beat them, but they almost did.
Right.
You got to be physical. And we just didn't.
Yes.
We got out physical.
Yes.
So, but all right, guys, we're going to look at the chat, man, and I'm going to read out some of these and see what y'all got. So y'all fire your way. We're live right now. Treginald Jones says, no Burfict. He fought someone on the staff or something. What y'all talking about, bringing them in? No, we don't want Burfict. Jordan Mid says, look at Eli Apple. He was on a bad scheme. Now look at a new team and scheme, and he is now on. Yeah, hey, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Eli Apple won't doing much in New York.
Yeah.
But he's playing well in that scheme. So that could kind of argue to what Leonard says. Is it the scheme or is it our players? I don't know.
I'll also say that you got to remember the pass rush, too, that was... They was formidable. That pass rush. I mean, they were all around Ben. If you look at that game, they were all around him a lot.
Yeah, they was.
Yeah, and so not taking anything from Eli Apple, you're exactly right, because sometimes different players going in different schemes that can make a difference.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
I saw Kenyon said, he said, laugh out loud. He said, Sim, we don't have the physical corners.
Yeah,
we don't. But it's very telling though, man. When you look at the film. We don't give the line a little extra time. We can't play physical with these boys, and I'm assuming Butler knows that. So, let's see. Let's get somebody else. Kenyon said Dallas drafted big corners. They sure did. That boy Byron Jones started all the safety. Now he's playing at corner.
Yes.
Robbie Smooth says, so what would you say the weakness of our defense is? Because I've been saying for years it's our linebackers, not necessarily Shazier, but Vince Williams. And the other ones, they cannot seem to cover. You agree with that?
Yeah, because remember, They had Vince Williams. I mean, Vince Williams couldn't.
Oh yeah, on that Kamara play.
He couldn't cover him.
Again, once again, zoning it up. And Kamara, y'all remember that play when Kamara, he ran across, it was like a drag. Drew Brees hits him, and he gets a first down. That was the one where I think he got pushed out of bounds, like around the 20 or something.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Jesse George said, we just need to get either a middle linebacker, corner for edge rusher in free agency. Excuse me, preferably a corner, and then get the other two in the first and second round. Okay, I can agree with that a little something. Let's see. Martin Rome says Vince is slow. Yeah, Vinny can't run like he used to. Devontae Williams says Byron Jones started as a corner, then a safety, now back to corner. Good point. Eli Coolin says, Sim, can you blame Butler? We have a top 10 defense and we have a lack of talent and depth.
That's a good point.
You look at the Rams and the talent they have, and they are average. Let's give a round of applause to Eli. Listen, man. I love that. And I hope Leonard is listening. It's a combination. Let's not get it confused. It's a combination of talent and coaching.
Mm-hmm.
I think Tony and I both alluded to it tonight that there were times where we looking at it and like, why would you run zone right there?
Mm-hmm.
The 3rd and 20 is the most glaring. Why would you run zone at that moment? And I understand the idea is to allow your guys to get a little pressure. But with our team, we don't do good in zone coverage. So to me, I'm going to throw all my chips out there and be like, go win this game. Let's get in their face and try to plaster the receivers. At the same time, we don't necessarily got the talent. And Eli just said, we are number 10 overall defense. Let's be honest. It ain't great, but we're number 10. So we actually have improved. It's just that in situational football, I think we get a little too predictable.
Right.
We rely on what we think we do well, and we get beat.
Right.
So that's how I feel about it.
I got another question. I don't know how maybe Kenyon or Debbie, Mariano, how they would feel about this. I'm kind of questioning. Even though Tuitt and Jay Wobble played and Cam Hayward, I kind of question them sometimes too because they up and down when they show up in the game.
Right.
And that's supposed to be like the anchor of our defense. The 3-4 defense, the two ends, and the way our defense was, it's constructed is a little different than Dick LeBeau. They hold up Dick LeBeau's defense. The ends and the nose tackle hold up the line for the linebackers to do the work.
Right.
This defense, everyone go for the pass rush, and sometimes they're up and down. Tuitt had a pretty good game, but last couple of games we haven't seen Tuitt.
Tuitt has been quiet, man. I mean, I know in a lot of times, we had discussions amongst each other, and I know like sometimes with Leonard, he'll say, I haven't heard so and so's name. But it's not always that you're going to hear people's names.
Okay.
Even like Bud. He got on Bud in this game, but Bud didn't play that bad
He didn't
tonight.
play bad.
He didn't get a sack, but and I'll say that about Tuitt and Hayward. Most games, you can tell Hayward is effective some kind of way. He's pushing the pocket. He's getting double teamed. And a lot of times, Stephon Tuitt is one-on-one.
Right.
Not all the time, but there's times he's one-on-one. And I like Tuitt, but I have to agree with Tony, man. I think Tuitt hasn't been as consistent. Remember that year when he was dominating?
Mm-hmm.
He hasn't gotten back to that.
Right.
To help Cam Hayward.
Right.
So,
yeah,
I don't know, man. I think we might need a little more rotation. Maybe a piece or two behind those guys. Because Alualu, his season, he hasn't had as good a season as he had last year.
Right.
When he comes in the backup. But, I don't know. We still got holes in the defense.
Also, tell Gerard, don't be hailing to the Redskins on the chat.
Where Gerard at, man?
Yeah, he put hail to the Redskins.
Let me see where he at.
he just passed it.
Where is he? Hail to the Redskins. Oh, there you go. And look, so y'all don't be mean to him now. That's Tony's son, and we don't play them games. His family is family, so go ahead somewhere, Gerard. We got to come back over there, right? All right, let's see what else we got. But the Redskins gonna be sitting. Where they gonna be at?
They gonna be on. They gonna be sitting with us.
That's what I thought. Smitty753 says Stephon Tuitt had to force the penalties against. He said he had 2 forced penalties against New England. and then had a sack in the Oakland game and had a sack this game. You know what? I'm gonna give you a round of applause for that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? You right. And see, I went against my own advice right there, and I said we blame him to it. He has played relatively decent in the last few weeks.
Right.
But I think what me and Tony are referring to is, as a whole, we don't see Tuitt as disruptive as we thought he would be.
Right.
But I have to agree with him. Okay. Tuitt has been balling in the last few weeks.
Okay.
He has. And we can't act like he didn't get the sack tonight.
Yeah, he did.
Because at first we tried to say it was Bud.
Yeah.
But as we saw, Stephon Tuitt.
Yeah.
You're right.
Okay.
We're wrong right there. You're right. That's our emotions right there getting in the way. So let me see. Big Dro says, Modern Rome 1, the game changed. A huge nose tackle is not an advantage. I agree with that. That ain't the wave no more. Unless maybe you're playing against the Ravens the way they running the football.
Right.
Let me ask y'all this. And I'll ask Tony this real quick. First of all, do you think if we get in the playoffs, we probably going to end up being a 6 seed, so we won't see the Ravens. But y'all think we can beat the Ravens now? The way they running the football and the way we've been leaking against the run at times? And do you think that a lot of other teams going to be able to just blow them out? I don't know. The Ravens might be a problem in the playoffs.
Yes.
They might be a problem.
Yes.
What y'all think, man? I want to see what y'all say in the chat. But... Because, all right, so we can only get the 6th spot.
Right.
No. We can get, if they lose and we win, we go back to
the 4th.
To 4th. And can they still get in if they lose?
I think if they're out, if they lose, they got to win out.
Enough wins.
Yeah, they need to.
Oh no, they got 9, so they'll be 9-7.
Right.
And yeah, we just said Tennessee or the Colts. One of them are going to have 10 wins, so they would be out.
We'll have the better divisional record.
So we would play we'd have to play the Chargers.
Yeah.
In San Diego, in LA.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Listen,
I'm not. Go ahead.
I ain't afraid of them.
Yeah, me either.
Only because, again, this team gives us false hope. We saw how we played against the Patriots. We saw how we played tonight. I mean, honestly, guys, listen, we can't make excuses because we lost. But if you really think about it, we were still in a position where we did enough to win.
Right.
A stop or two, we win the game. And I don't think the Chargers put that much of a threat on us defensively the way the Saints were able to today. But we played the Chargers, and we saw how they beat us. But just not forget, we were smoking them early. They got a punt return for a touchdown. You know, I think Phillip Rivers didn't nice us up, slice us up like that the way Breeze did. But we'll have to figure out a different plan against, Keenan Allen in the slide and all of that. But I think we could beat them.
If we go the 4th seed, I think they come to our house.
Oh, because they're the 5th.
Yes.
That's right. So we'll be higher than them.
Yes. Yeah. So they would have to come to our house if we had to win. And the 3rd seed, which is the Texans now.
Yeah.
Yeah, they would have to play Baltimore if they're in the 6th seed or whoever's in that 6th spot. They have to play them. And
I don't know why, but I'm gonna I think the Colts gonna slide in there.
You think the Colts gonna slide in there?
I think so.
They're a dangerous team to get in.
Tennessee don't scare nobody.
Yeah.
It ain't no disrespect to my boy Zoo if he watching. And he knows it because me and him have texted when I've watched their games when we weren't playing. Tennessee is one of them teams too, man. They got a talented defense and they don't really perform when they need to. Sometimes they do, but I don't know. Let me see. What else y'all got? And we're going to get out of here in a moment, guys. We already at 39 minutes. So, yeah, we can only stay maybe a few more minutes. Slide out of here. Don't forget, Sim and Tony, the Steelers have not held home field this year. You right, Debbie. You're absolutely right. In order to beat the Ravens, their run game is game planning. Yeah. You right. Now, listen, I'm going to be honest. I'm going to give them some credit last night. They came with a slightly different game plan.
Yes,
Lamar Jackson made some key throws in the game that I wasn't confident that he can make. So if they can get that intermediate pass game going and the play action, look out, man.
Yeah.
That defense is for real.
Yes.
Eli says, I would rather just have a high draft pick at this point, as do I. Because listen, we all know this. We ain't going to get number 7 this year.
Right.
Let's just face it. Because let's go through. Well, wait a minute. We say that, but here go the false hope again. Who we think will get out the NFC? That's going to represent the NFC. Rams or Saints. I mean, we can't discount those other teams now.
Right.
Cowboys could get in there and have another defensive effort against them in advance.
Yeah.
Philly might get hot.
Right.
But who do we think right now would probably represent the NFC? I mean, NFC.
I believe it's the Saints.
How did we play the Saints today?
Oh wow, we played them tough. Oh, I see what you're saying. They with our defense and with our offense, they almost couldn't stop us. You're exactly right.
It ain't impossible to say if we could get by some teams in the playoff. We're just wishing here.
Yeah,
it ain't impossible to say that we couldn't win this year.
Right,
we couldn't get number 7. I highly doubt it.
Yes,
but looking at the teams we played and how we've competed. Offensively, I put us up there with anybody.
Yes.
The Rams defense, I don't think can stop us.
No.
Kansas City, I don't think can, but we can't stop their team. That's the only problem. But it's safe to say we're not going to win them.
I don't even see the Ravens defense stopping us. I mean, they have a nice defense.
We got them in their house.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. But I think the season is over with.
Yeah.
Just like Leonard just said.
Yeah.
It's done.
Yeah.
But just despite us, don't be surprised if we beat Cincinnati, the Ravens lose, and we sneak in the playoffs. Don't be just to put us way down again in the. We already down there,
right?
Because all of the teams that's 9-6 here, 9-6 there. I mean, it's a lot of 8-7s. It's gonna be some 8-8s.
Right.
We still probably in the 20th spot at this moment, so we still further down, but we'll see. All right, man, we're gonna take 2 more of these and we're gonna get out of here. Kenyon says, yeah, nobody can stop us, but we stop ourselves. Absolutely correct. Michael Embray says, Pittsburgh is possibly the toughest team overall the Saints have played this season. Very true, because I did hear one of their beat writers saying this would be a real test for them. Yeah. So there you go. Still Raid 44 says, what sense is it having to pick if you make a stupid pick? I guess that's what he's saying. Hey, well, that's all speculation, man. Let's speak on that real quick before we get out of here.
Okay.
We have to blame the GM.
Yes.
But can we always guarantee that draft picks are going to pan out? Now, we have to blame. This is one of the things that we can say we have results bias. Because our first round picks haven't hit, really. Right. Shazier was probably the better one.
Yes.
In the last 6-7 years.
Right.
But I don't know if we can say that we can't tell who's going to be a baller and who's not.
Right.
Now, Van Der Esch has turned out to be a great first-round pick.
Yes.
And if we could have got him, I would have loved it. But who's to say if both him and Evans was there, which one were we going to take? Were we going to take Evans or,
Right.
But I guess all I'm saying, guys, is even if you pick way up, I know we all prefer that. And, preferably you think you get a monster player. But you can't determine that.
No, you can't.
Let's not forget, this is the example I always use. Jamarcus Russell was drafted number 1 overall. I mean, I'm sure the Raiders didn't expect to draft a bust. You just never know. Guys like Trent Richardson.
Right.
You just never know. You know what I mean? So I agree with you guys in saying that, but then you look down, way down in the draft, and you see Antonio Brown sitting there at 6. I just think what we got to do better at, Kenyon says it a lot, he's probably saying it now. What we have to do is we have to be better with evaluating the talent.
Right.
Regardless of where we pick. I don't think we've done a great job. Because even the commentary guys were saying Artie Burns was early. He was a project. That was a bad pick, technically. Bud Dupree wasn't a standout in college. He just had potential. He hasn't turned that potential into being a great guy. Ryan Shazier was really the only guy in the last few years that I could say, you look at his tape and say, oh yeah, that dude is a baller. We did good with him. Le'Veon Bell, 2nd round pick. Right. That was a home run.
Right.
But I don't know. I think we got to do a better job with evaluating the draft picks.
Yes.
And let's put this Bell stuff to bed, guys. I know everybody's gonna say we would have won if it. Let's not forget how many. Go back and look at the season. How many games were we winning in the fourth quarter?
Right.
Don't say it's because of Bell. And if you want to say, oh, clock management, okay. But against these Saints, with them being number one against the run, we don't know if Bell would have made a difference. The offense played well enough to win this game. The defense could not stop the Saints. They got aided with a ticky-tack, call on Joe Hayden on 4th and 2. And the cookie just didn't crumble in our direction this way. So, that's it. But I guess we can get out of here, man. Is there anything else we want to hit on real quick, though, before we go? Any lasting feelings about this game or just the season? And I know we might be a little premature, but if we're expecting it to be over.
Yes, it's definitely over. Wanted to bring up also our scouting department. I mean, we talk about Kevin Colbert, and Colbert we trust. We've always, I've always said that. He's had great picks over the last 20 years or so. Our first GM. And maybe we need to do better in that department, like you said. Just my last thoughts on this game. I mean, it's just like you said. It's like it's been the whole season.
Yeah,
it's been the whole season, and I saw a lot of great things this season. A lot of good things. I've seen a lot of players come along. They were a little inconsistent, but like you said, we're gonna have to be a better talent evaluator. We have to have some better talent evaluation because some of the players we pick. Now you think about this also, that we're picking later in the draft. A lot of the good players. I mean, sometimes great players go down to the second and third, and as you see, we've gotten some good players. That turned out to be some great players that was like 6 and undrafted free agents. James
sometimes,
like that. But I mean, that's what's going to happen. I mean, we just got to tighten up a little bit better, and we have to look forward to next year because even if we, like you said, we hope we want to get in the playoffs. But when we get in there, how's it going to look? We're going to be disappointed again.
We're going to get dusted.
I know some people would say probably that they would rather get in. Like me and you say it all the time. It's just like you almost wish you get blown out.
Yeah.
Then to get in a tight game like
this. I hate
this.
these games, man. And this one even hurt too because, again, the offense was getting down there. And it's like, I know Juju, I mean, they pan to him and he's his head, hand in his head. I mean, head in his hands or whatever. That has to hurt because, I mean, that we already in field goal position, man. We don't know if Boz would make it. But we all in the house felt like we about to score.
Yes.
We felt like we was going to score because they was moving the ball. And the Saints couldn't stop us. I really felt like we were going to score because we knew we had to score. We didn't want to go into overtime. And it's unfortunate, man. I mean, those guys... See, people are going to blame Juju. And people are going to blame Ridley. And, partly we got to look at them and be like, you got to hold on to the ball. But if you go back and look at those plays, those were great plays.
Yes.
Guys punching the ball out.
Yes.
It happens. And Juju's had such a great season and even made some great plays in this game. He saved us a lot in the game. I can't blame him for fumbling.
Right.
But it just goes to show you, man, that's the season. That is the Steelers, a team that is very talented, lacks the talent on defense, but still able to be in most games due to their offense, and they just can't close it out. And we all know the saying, defense wins championships. You got to have a defense that can at least get stops when they need to. And it hasn't been us. So, season is over for the most part. But like I said, as luck will have it, the Steelers will find their way in the playoffs and break our heart at the last minute. So,
and just one more thing real quick. Mariana brought it out about Juju being injured also.
Yeah, that groin.
Yeah, they're injured. I mean, we never know what could have transpired.
And he got twisted up.
Yes.
And you could tell, because I was saying it in the game, you could tell he was favoring it.
Yeah.
He was getting up slow and, he's kind of stretching it out. So, it's been great, guys.
Yes.
We'll be back next week regardless. Before we get out of here, I know not everybody celebrates it, calls it Christmas or whatever, but we're going to say Merry Christmas to everybody who's celebrating Christmas.
Yes.
And Happy Holidays who for those of you that don't. And I plan to come back Tuesday. I just don't know what time.
Yes.
We'll see. You know, because I know a lot of you guys probably will be with family and all that. Maybe later that night, or we'll do it Wednesday night. But we'll come back. We'll look at some film. And, you know, I guess I would say look forward to the next opponent. But what does it matter? I mean, season is done. Maybe we'll get a Christmas miracle and we'll get in there. But whatever. But that's going to do it. I hope everybody enjoyed the show tonight. Something different. It was great to have my brother Tony here tonight.
Yes.
You know, we could give you guys a conversation more than just me talking. But outside of that, man, I hope you guys enjoyed. We're about to close y'all out. Y'all have a good one. Be blessed. Watch some football tonight. Don't cry too much about the Steelers. And we'll catch y'all later. All right? Peace.
Peace.